Hello, everybody. My name's Tony Cardenas, and this is the Indy Real Estate Market Weekly Podcast. This week, we have Justin Griffith back on the show from Keller Williams. I wasn't sure if Keller Williams closed their doors or not, but he's open, and he's here to sell some real estate. We also have Shelly Walters here, FC.Tucker Carmel office. Kyle Morris with the FC.Tucker Carmel office. What's going on, Justin? How you been?
Not too bad. Trying to thaw out after yesterday. Got a little chilly.
Yeah.
It snowed.
Well, you got some big deals going on. I mean, you got a land deal that's getting ready to crack for $1 million, and you got some other of the container home deals that are kind of shifting around here. Yeah. So, you know, you're getting some activity in your world, which is nice.
Stay busy, yeah.
Yeah. Shelly, what about you?
Doing all right. Everything is starting to pick up as we thought it would after we have spring break and Easter, and it's all over. And these stats for the past 7 days kind of show that I think we're back on it.
We're back on it, but we're really, really low in inventory, aren't we there, Kyle?
Super low.
Super low. Yeah. I mean, you know, you would have thought last week we would have had a little activity. Everybody, you know, back home for a week. Okay, I know it's only 1 week, getting their homes ready, try to get out in front of the market, get the higher part of the house right now, because, you know, the Feds, you know, only thing I can tell you is they're not done raising the rates. Mm-hmm. Okay, they're not done. All right. So,
but here's the thing, though, too, that we actually did have that kind of activity. It just all got absorbed.
Well, so right, because of the buyers out here. That's right.
Yeah.
But, you know, right now you got I'm talking about a 780 score, 20% loan to value, good debt ratios. You could get a 6.75, 6.875, 7%, depending on who you are, what you're looking for on a 30-year fix, 15-year fix. Could get right around 6. You might even dip down to a 5.875. And the 5-1 ARMs, they're not worth anything today because they're right around 6.75%. Why do that when you can get a 30? And then you got the FHAs at 6.25 for first-time home buyers. But I'm going to tell you something. There is a lender out there right now. I can't say it. I can say it next week. There's a lender out there that's giving 1% up to 1% down on your purchase for a first-time home buyer, up to a max of $4,000 if you qualify. And we can get you that information after the show. That money's not going to last long. I doubt that it lasts 60 days, but they got a lot of money, and it's through a grant. And I don't know all the details, but they do fund the customers. So that really could help a new home buyer.
That's huge.
And so explain that, Tony. What does that give them? That $4,000 for, is that a point on a under $400,000?
1% up to the max of $4,000.
So under a $400,000 house, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they could get. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so I'll get all the details on that and send that out to you guys so you can talk to your customers about it. But that's a nice little grant program that came along for your first-time home buyers. I don't know how many first-time home buyers you guys do. I know you do a few, Justin. And
Oh, yeah, we all do.
okay,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, that can really help somebody by that 1%.
Absolutely.
You know, instead of putting down 3.5%, they got to put down 2.5%. Then they get the credits back here. You know, I love a lot of FHA deals, dude. Mm-hmm. You really don't end up putting 3.5% down. You know, you walk out with some money once in a while. So that's a little tidbit there. But there's some banks coming on board here in Carmel, Indiana that we're going to be talking about for lot and land financing. So, Shelly, let's kick it off with your thoughts in the market.
Well, we talked about the fact that maybe in the next week or two, last week we said that we'd start to see some uptick in activity, and I think we really did. I'll go into the stats real quick. We have some other stuff to talk about, but I think the stats have some things to do with that. 7 days, we had 40 houses hit the market in Carmel, and 34 of those pended.
Oh, my Lord.
So we are real high on pendings this past week.
Real high on pendings and no inventory.
Busy, yes. Well, active now, we have 70 in Carmel. You know, in the past, we've seen over half more than that. Anywhere from 275 to 3.9%, or to 3.9 million. 25 of those are new builds. So we only have 44 resales in Carmel. So what I did is I broke down the price points because we kind of say that as well. So in the 44 resales in Carmel, between 200 and 400,000, there's only 5 houses. So anywhere, all those buyers out there looking between 2 and 4, there's 5. Anywhere looking between 4 and 5, we have an uptick to 13. Anywhere between 500 to 700, there's 8. And between 7 and 1, there's 9. Over 1 million, there's 9. So that, you know, that price point where it seems to be, you know, many buyers would be in between 2 and 4 or 4 to 5, there's only 18 houses available in Carmel. So if we look at it that way, that shows where our inventory is really low for that average buyer for Carmel. Sold in the past 30 days was 117. The average days on market was 48, and the median was 12. So then Westfield, we had 35 hit the market and 16 pended. So also going back to real quick, we wanted to look at what happened in 2022 this week. So looking at that, back to Carmel, it was almost exactly the same. 46 hit the market this week, 36 pended. This year, it was 40 hit the market, 34 pended. So we're actually kind of right on par with where we were just a year ago. In Westfield in 2022, 30 hit the market. This year, it was 35. And in them pendings, 18 pended in 2022 and 16 pended. So again, Westfield is exactly on par with where we were in 2022. Currently active, there are 149. There are 89 new builds, so only 54 resales in Westfield. If we look at it that way, anybody looking between 200 and 400,000 is only 7. If you're looking at it between 500 and 600, there's 8. 600 to 700, there's 8. 7 to $1 million, there's 8, and over $1 million, there's 8. So that again, 2 to 500, that's 22 houses available.
Let me ask you this though, and that's a hot market that we're talking about right now. Okay, these houses have got to be going over a certain percentage over list price. I just can't see these just saying, okay, I'll take it at list price, and then you got what you were just talking about a few minutes ago, Kyle, about losing one over $20.
If you've been on the market like 10 days, I don't know, you're gonna get lists. You may be a little bit under, but like it's just the same as last year where. If it's in your first 7 days, like we're over list. Like, I mean, that's just all there is to it. That's what we were talking about. I know we're going to talk about it a little bit later. Let's just segue into it real quick, I guess. Writing an offer is an art, like I have to think about, okay, what do I think it's going to take to get this? All right. So somebody else is going to think the same way. So then I have to get right over that one. And then I have to be like, okay, so then I have to get over that one. So I guess that's how I think about offers. And then we also had the discussion with our buyers, is this the house that you want, or is this the house that you can't live without? Because those are two different types of offers, because the one that you can't live without is more of a desperation offer. And we can get just about any house depending on what your financing is. And I can definitely get you in the top 2, but I can't. There's no way I can predict a desperation offer. Right. Like I just can't do that. I can put you in the running right there, but based on what I think is going to happen. But there's just no way to predict if somebody's like, this is the house. I've dreamt of this forever. We're going to go 80 over. Like I can't predict that stuff. It's just too impossible, right? So, but those are all conversations. They are out there.
I mean, they are out there, and that's one thing I talk to my buyers as well. Is we know you absolutely love this house. What is your absolute best you can do? And then I say my conversation back to them is. You just told me your absolute highest on the escalation clause. If we're going to talk about whether or not you should use an escalation clause. But if you have an escalation clause and saying I'll go to 405, and they tell me that's it, that's absolutely it. So I tell them if I call you and I say, I'm sorry, it was a $406,000 offer, you lost it, and they tell me right there, that's okay. I am only willing to do 405. But you know how many times I go back to the buyer and they go, we would have done 406.
Yep.
You can't, you don't get a second chance. There's no countering. There's no nothing.
Got to have your number in.
And if
you got to know how to think about it, right?
And then Justin was talking about, you need to know what you can do right when you see the house, before you see the house, because there's no figuring this out. It is going way too rapid fire. So, Justin, you were talking about that.
Yeah, I had a lead from a lender of mine that had not been fully pre-qualified at the point. So we looked at a condo. It was actually under $100,000, and which they do still exist. I was surprised. It was amazing, actually. Right. But it got outbid 20% over ask price. So I mean, it's not big.
No, it's not big
dollar sign.
But
but they got the condo. Yeah.
And your buyer didn't know what he absolutely could do because you didn't have the information.
Yeah, if he would have had the full approval, we would have known that he could have went higher, and we got that approval today. Right. But that's 3 days too late. So
right. Well,
I don't know. I just think this is a major thing that agents, buyers, sellers all need to understand. Right. Escalation clauses. We were talking about that. I love escalation clauses, Shelly. Both of you guys said you like escalation clauses. Fan. Yeah, but I don't think every agent reads them. I don't
or understands them.
Understands them is the better word, right?
That's the better word because they got to understand the mechanics of it.
Well, you see an agent-to-agent remark sometimes, no escalation clauses, and I'm like, but that's how we write our we write our offer.
Benefit them.
Yeah.
It benefits the seller.
Everybody.
Why would you be against that at all?
Well, they always say like, oh, well, if I just see that and that's your top dollar, I'll just counter to that. I was like, well, then I also get to say no to that, right?
That's not what.
Yeah, show me what escalated this, or this isn't escalating.
Okay,
yeah, that's not what the escalation clause is for. And in the very, very beginning, when that first started coming out, that was something that everybody said. You just told me you'd pay $405. We want the $405.
Show me something that makes me got paid.
Yeah.
Read it. I don't care if I have to show you. I'm not going to show you. Well, I just want your $405. You said you'd go there. That's not what that escalation clause is about. And correct. I don't think people are doing it that much anymore.
I don't think so either. But I think it's just the lack of understanding. It does complicate an offer for sure. But if you understand them, like I don't know. It's like I just look at it and it's like, okay, I know where we're at on this one.
Well, and that's where we get back to, if you just said this is a house you can't live without, and you have to have this house. We don't want to write, again, trying to use a number. If we don't want to write a house, $415. When we might be able to get it for $405, but we want to make sure that we stay in the running during that price war that's happening at the kitchen table,
where it starts to have the breakdown.
When the seller is going, well, okay, here's $407, here's $408, this is still out here at $415. You're still able to sit at that table and say, keep raising your hand, as I keep saying, you're raising your hand, but we'll do $415. But we'll do $415. But if you don't use an escalation clause and you go, well, I think let's just guess, like you said. Who's that outlier buyer out there that said, I can do $450?
Yeah.
And
you just can't predict it.
Okay, let me ask you this.
Before, this isn't every house, though, for the record, too, though. So I know it's
really
really hot because, I've got one. I got notified $25,000 price reduction on a house that we may be interested in. I have one that I'm going to do a small price reduction on. So, if it's been sitting, like, there's really good deals to be made out there. It's just the ones, like, your
in
agent,
certain areas, they can demand the price.
Well, and even, like, your agent should be communicating with the other agent to be like, hey, we're stacked with showings today. There's ways to get enough information to kind of, like, probe the interest on a property pretty quickly.
Well, what I was seeing, too, on the just looking at the stats for the past 7 days and the pendings, that many houses were pending in 1 and 2 days, which gets back to, remember how we have done in the past, and I still like to do, is that 4-day holding it open so that buyers get to get in.
Monday or Sunday.
And then you get an opportunity for every buyer possibly to get in and see it. I saw a lot of 1 and 2 days on the market after pending, and I thought, well, that's telling us, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, if you're serious to make an offer, they're not waiting anymore.
Yeah.
They're I think a lot of sellers and a lot of agents are like, I don't know if we can play that game. Let's just take a great offer and be done with it. So this making an offer and knowing with your pre-approval letter what you can and can't do is very, very important right now, because you probably aren't going to get that 4-day open from Thursday to Sunday.
Absolutely.
Well, okay, let's change the spectrum a little bit. Here's what I want to ask. Okay, so we got inventory that's going to start coming in the next 7, 8, 9, 10 days. Are we going to get back to the point, and I'm really talking about Indy North and Hamilton County. I don't know a lot about Greenwood because we don't have anybody on from the Greenwood area. Are we going to get 5, 6, 7 people to look at that house for open house?
Yeah, especially because it's
looking
getting.
At you like, what do you mean?
What I mean is, what I mean is this Saturday.
7. Yeah.
But no, I'm just saying, I know somebody that had 5 people look at his house the other day. They couldn't believe 5 people came to look at this house.
Shoot.
I've been
confused. You're talking about an open house or actually when showings?
An open house.
So last weekend,
people in line, like one at a time going in. If there's short inventory, I'm not going to let a bunch of people walk through my house. I'm going to let them do it one at a time. Are we going to get a line of people if we have a shortage of inventory?
Well, most open houses, everybody just kind of walks in and out. But
I allow overlapping. Ever since COVID has eased up and stuff, I allow overlapping showing. It's to the benefit of my seller, quite honestly.
Get as many people in as fast as possible.
We got to make
when they see somebody else in the house, it kind of makes them go, oh, there's competition.
Exactly.
Well, you remember about a year and a half ago was when, you would lock some... agents were selling homes and wouldn't let the other agent walk through.
That really only existed for about a year during COVID.
I know, but okay. Yeah. I just didn't know if we were going to get into that realm of showing houses because of the shortage of inventory we have.
There are specific houses that are absolutely on fire the second they hit the market.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you will see cars lined up and stuff like that. So
on your GPS, it'll show as a high traffic area.
Yeah, exactly. It's really funny. Yeah, your navigation changes. Yeah. I will say something else too. So I had a listing that was Meridian Kessler adjacent that was grossly overpriced, and Did not think it would sell. We pulled it off the market. We ended up getting a ton of phone calls after it was pulled off the market while we were trying to just update it a little bit to get it back on the market. It ended up selling for like 50 over the nearest comp, which was just insane to me because there was no inventory and they wanted to be in that neighborhood.
Isn't it funny when you take it away? It's like, oh,
yeah.
I need it. I need it now.
I had to.
Well, because people want to see what's going to happen with it, right?
Yeah.
And it's gone and like, oh, maybe we can still get this thing.
Yeah. But it goes to show you too, you put about $5,000 to $7,000 in a house just to button it up. I mean, you can get a premium out of it, especially on a low inventory type of situation.
Right. Yeah. You still have to have a nice, pretty house.
Yeah.
Things have to be fixed up and look decent. I mean, just getting ready. I'll finish my stats real quick. So in Westfield, we were talking about, so there's 127 sold in the past 30 days. Average was 49 days on the market, median 15. So, you know,
that's still Westfield, right?
Yeah. And then Zionsville, 22 hit the market. In 2022, 15 had hit the market the same week. 13 pended this past 7 days. 10 pended in 2022. So, again, very even, Stephen, there.
Okay.
Currently active in Zionsville, 43. So, if we look at that breakdown, 10 of new builds. So, out of the 33 resales in Zionsville, under 300, 1.
Yep.
400, 1. 400 to 500, 1. 500 to 600, 7, and 600 to 700, 3.
Wow.
And then we go to 800 to 900, or 800 to 1 million is 6, and 1 million and over 10. That's on the resales. So again, that's just showing the breakdown of anything under 500. There's 9.
So you have 23 homes under $1 million.
Right. So you did your side of the fence. Just recap Carmel for me real quick.
Okay. Well, I just want to say that in the past 30 days, 40 have sold in Zionsville, average 37.
Okay.
Median was 5. So recap on Carmel. What do you want to see?
Just recap it real quick because we had a big space between it.
Okay. So Carmel, the 7 days past hit the market 40 and 34 pended.
Wow.
Currently active 70, and there's 25 of those are new builds. So only, half of that or 3/4 of it is
available.
Sorry.
Right.
30 days sold, 117.
Wow. Okay. Well, it shows you we're really short on inventory. Okay.
They're selling fast.
Let's move over to you for Hamilton County. Then we're going to jump on Justin for the city.
Okay. So in Fishers last week, we had 41 hit the market. 18 of them are still active. Last week it was anywhere from 284 to just under 1.3 million. 23 of those pended, 39 total pended, right? So 41 went on the market, 39 total pended last week. There's 71 active on the market. Average days on market is 29 days, but there's one big outlier that was at 371 days. Like just removing that house from that puts it at 20 days on market. When I was looking at last year, so I didn't actually look day over day just because I don't date my weeks every single week. So I just went back to like the worst possible week I found during last summer, which probably would have been, I would assume based on the numbers, like around May. Is when we were dealing with 10 days on market was the average. And so in Fishers last year, when we were in the height of it and we had 10 days on market, there was 148 on the market. We have 71 right now.
Yeah.
And 56 pended that week whenever we did that, right? So we are going down in our inventory.
Down in our inventory and up in our rates.
And we're approaching like the more intense time in the market. So Noblesville, we had 36 go on the market, anywhere from 160 to 775. 12 of them are still active. 24 of those pended, but 40 actually pended, right? So that means we are in a negative inventory right there for Noblesville by
Absolutely.
itself. There's 66 actually on the market, 24 days on market, and in comparison to the same time, I looked at the same week in my notes.
Yep.
We had 10 days on market, 42, so the same amount pended for the week, and we had 111 on market, right? So even with that, so you got 4, you got an plus of 4 for your inventory in Noblesville this week. Just to get back up to that market, what is that? That's 4. There's almost a 60 difference. You know what I mean? So
bad shape.
Yeah, I mean it would take us like 20 some weeks to actually hit that kind of inventory at our current kind of appreciation.
So it's knocking a lot of buyers out of the market, and you got to go back and think, hey, am I going to get rid of my 2.75 or 3.25%, 3.5% rate to go buy another house that I need one more bedroom and a basement? I mean, that's a big choice that a family has to make. Yeah. And what can they get out of their existing home, and what's the premium they're going to have to pay on the new home? But it's happening. But I mean, there's buyers out there doing this.
So here's the thing to it. So we talk about like it's knocking buyers out of the market to a certain extent. I don't see that to the level like I was.
But it is.
But I think because we've gotten into this space where we're comparing the past 2 years as the normal market.
I know, but people do that. I know. But
I know.
A guy that owns a home that doesn't know the business like you do or like I do and doesn't understand interest rates and doesn't understand real estate, how it sells, this guy might only buy 2 homes in his whole life. You never know.
Right. So then it comes back to buyers are buying out of necessity, and then at that point, it's less of an impact because people.
And also remembering the answer to this is a new build.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah. If you're buying a home, always get a realtor. If you're buying a brand new home, they pay the realtor. It doesn't cost you anything. You get all the guidance. You get the walkthroughs. You get all kinds of services through a realtor when you buy a new construction home. Of course, it takes.
Well, and the other thing to talk about that is when we're talking about what's active on the market, there's a lot of new builds that aren't showing on my board. Right. The only way you know that these houses are available, there's even just one instance, Epcon in Carmel, just myself, purchased a home for myself. There are homes over there, 6 inventory homes one's almost finished and 5 on the way up or whatever. Right. None of those are in MyBor. You have to actually go to the builder to know what houses are available that you can literally move into in the next 30 days. So it's not all active information we're giving here. We don't have all the builder's information.
Oh,
and
no.
there's a lot more of that.
Yep.
Well, Epcon is a unique situation.
They're all like that.
Yeah, right.
I mean, if I talk to any builder, they've got inventory that they don't tell us about.
Okay, let's go down to Indianapolis. Let's get the
helicopter taking us down.
Something like that. Hey, let's find out what's going on in Meridian Kessler.
Meridian Kessler this week we had 11 new, 8 of those pended. Yep.
Over list price too.
Yep, and we had 4 closings anywhere from $250 up to $1.35 million.
Gotcha.
Average days on the market was 75, but the median was 4.
Wow.
Yep. We had half of those closings were over asked, so 2 of those were over asked. Broad Ripple, we had 7 new, 6 of those are pending, and we had another 2 pinned that were older than a week. So we have 8 pending total, and we had 1 closing, $239. So it sold for over list price, and it was only on the market for 3 days.
Yeah, you're going to see that.
Very low inventory right now.
Very low inventory.
Broad Ripple total right now that I'm pulling up has 3 active.
Right.
I've never seen a number that low ever. So
right. So,
Fountain Square, we had 18 total hit the market, or there's 18 total in the market. I'm sorry. 4 new, 4 of the new ones pinned as well, and then we had 3 closed at 245,000. Average days on the market is 31, and the median is 7. And lastly, Bates Hendricks, we had 3 new hit the market, 2 of which pended, and we had no closings.
What are the prices down there at Bates Hendricks?
They're anywhere from like 99 up to 5. I mean, it just depends.
No, I had a cousin buy a house down there, and then she ended up selling it. Went to Nashville, and hell, she made like $80,000. I couldn't believe. I mean, she cleaned it up a little bit, but
yeah, one of those pendings too in Bates Hendricks. It's been on the market for 292 days. So homes are still selling if they've been sitting. It's I feel like it's been a slow spring, and it's people are realizing, hey, there's not a lot more coming on the market, and they're starting to look at those homes that have been listed for a while.
I'm telling you,
and
today,
you're starting to see those move as well.
I believe this. If you have a home in the Meridian Kessler type area on the lower side, and that home is $450,000, $500,000. This time next year, if the rates are improved just by a slight bit, you're going to see some really aggressive prices come out of these lower price homes in the Meridian Kessler area. Don't you think?
Yeah. I mean, it's always desirable.
I mean, you could have a $600,000 home down there real easy if you have a $450,000 now that's a primo, which could probably even sell for $5 and a quarter right now.
Well, and when you think Meridian Kessler, everybody thinks like this one specific area. It actually goes down to
significant.
It's way bigger than people think it is, and there's a lot of redevelopment and rehabs going on down there.
Oh, there's so many of them going down there. I mean, it's a beautiful area.
Yeah.
I mean, I would consider living down there.
There's a 289 one right down there. Yeah. So people just don't know how big that area really is. But that area that's kind of on the southern part of Meridian Kessler is seeing a ton of
redev.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, Shelly, any words of wisdom if somebody's going to be out selling a house or looking to buy a home? It's a different market. We're right in the spring market.
Well, one of the things we talk to our buyers about, I literally have a conversation yesterday with a referral from one of my clients, and they said, well, they're thinking about buying here in the next 6 months, coming in from out of state. What should we do? Should we wait? And I'm, no, absolutely. We need to start that conversation today and decide what your plan is, what you think your plan is. They have a house to sell. So, we've got back into this before, is setting expectations of what you need to expect. And there is never too soon to be talking about whether or not you're buying or selling, because as this market continues to change, you need to understand as a buyer or a seller what avenues we're taking. And then in a week or two, if it's pivoting, we can tell you where we're pivoting, because it just isn't something you can jump into and go, let's start today.
Yep.
Exactly. That's what I agree. So,
Kyle, what do you have to say?
I just think with buyers, I'm just a big believer. I can get any buyer a house, but I have to have the right timeline. And usually what happens is we are brought into the conversation too late in the timeline. I mean, if we're
got to be out of my apartment in 30 days.
Yeah,
like that can't work.
On. Yeah.
And you can't even close in 30 days if you really look at it
I
that
love
way.
people I'm looking 6 months and a year with,
Right.
because I can literally make just about anything happen if I have like a decent timeline, But if I'm crammed in 60 days, we can still do it, but it's tough. And depending on where your financing is, it's going to be very, very tough. So I know that's the biggest thing, is it's never too early. Like, I have people who be like, hey, we're thinking about doing this next year. All right, well, let me go. Let's get some ballpark numbers at least right now, and kind of like
see if you really want to go through this
Yeah.
process, because you can watch as things are happening, seeing the prices go over list.
so that you're ready when it happens.
Yeah,
And make sure they're approved when it happens too, because it's like I have a person that's like very interested. They wanted to look at a house, and we went and looked at it, but they were like, well, I got to get approved. There was like 6 people waiting to look at this home. It's sold. This is going to be sold. It's sold that first day.
Yeah. I think
and it's just letting them know, like, hey, you got to have this ready if you are even thinking about
Have your pre-approval ready.
Yeah.
I don't know why people are doing that.
But the interesting thing to what you're saying is, so like, when we're active, I want to have a pre-approval. I just do.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean you have to have one to reach out to me for us to like keep an eyeball on things.
You're absolutely right.
Absolutely,
And I think there's like this, like, I got to have this, and I don't want to get that yet. So
you can have your pre-approval up, like, hey, I'm going out with Kyle Morris on Saturday morning. Hey, we're just going to send you a pre-approval this Friday, so everything's updated. Even if we talked 5 weeks ago, who cares? I just send the guy the updated pre-approval. Send it to both of you, so you're ready to go.
Yeah, I want to be talking to you 6 months before you need the pre-approval.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing, I've talked to some agents, and honestly, I don't understand this process, but we have a long conversation with the buyers about what this market's like and what you have to do to make an offer, and understand if they have the stomach for it. Literally, it's, do you have the ability and the psychological aspect in your whole family to go through this process the way we say you need to do to get the offer? And I've had agents tell me that they go around and they make offers and they make offers and they never get it. And the thing about it is that they're literally having the buyer tell them, well, I don't want to go in, at list. I think it's, let's go in 20 under, 15 under.
Doing nobody a service.
No, and they just keep doing that, and they make 3 or 4 or 5 offers like that. And I'm like, well,
you're wasting
that's
so
not
much
even
time.
possible in this market for everybody, the seller, the buyer, the agents, all of that involved.
They get emotionally fatigued and
discouraged. Buyers need to know what they need to do.
If you can't do it up in Anderson, you certainly can't do it down here, because they're selling homes at Anderson at list price. So just, we're more of a premium area.
Yeah.
That's right. It's nationwide. It's Fort Wayne. Houses are going.
But some buyers still have the old mentality of, you just don't do that.
Yeah, it's not like that anymore.
Or I can get a deal. It's like, that's not what today is.
No.
You can.
Okay, everybody.
It's just a certain house.
Shelly, how do they get a hold of you?
You can reach me anytime on my cell phone, 317-201-2601. It's Shelly Walters Realty Group with FC.Tucker.
Kyle.
S'mores Property Group with FC.Tucker, 317-649-5122.
Justin Griffith, 317-507-5599, Fishers.real estate, and customcontainerbuilders.com.
Thank you. All right, everybody. We'll talk to you next week. Thank you for listening.